I had to answer a series of quite interesting questions today. And someone said to me, what's the first thing, what's the most important thing that you think you're really good at? And I thought, that's a really fabulous question, because on the one hand I could be quite flippant. And then I was asked to answer what was the second and what was the third. And of course, if you really pay attention to that question, and actually that's quite difficult, or is it? And one of the things that really sprung to mind, which is really important right now, is actually what is the thing that I connected with that I'm really good at, and it's actually holding a space for others to feel safe. And it took me, for some reason, quite a while to think about it, but actually it's the thing that I do all the time. And that's really important quality for those of you involved in leading other people. Is what do? We create a space to allow other people to feel safe, to be able to grow, to explore and experiment with ideas. It's the thing that we do as a coach. Now, there are lots of leadership models and there are lots of coaching models, and there's all sorts of things out there that people can jump up and down and they can connect with and get all really excited about. And some of them are incredibly powerful. But the one thing that really sprang to mind as I sat and put that time and effort and energy in to answer that question is, what is it that I feel that I do really well? And my strength is holding that space. What does that mean? That means you've got to be courageous, you've got to be bold, you've got to be at times vulnerable. And of course, for those of you that have connected with the readings and the research of people like Brené Brown, then you'll know that, because actually this idea of being vulnerable, of being bold, of being courageous, in order to be able to have that space where it's okay to hold a risk, where it's okay to be able to disconnect and to be accepting, or non-judgmental of all those things that appear. And so I think that's a really important notion to grab hold of right now, because actually we are all leaders, whether we're simply the leader of our own of ourselves, of our own emotions, in terms of focusing on how we want to show up in the world, or whether we are leading a small team of people right now, and how that may work for you, or whether you're leading an entire organization, or whether actually you're leading an entire nation or a complete effort. But what we do know is that people tend to perform well when they feel safe, even in difficult times, even in completely testing times. And sometimes that safety is not that we can ever make people truly be absolutely safe, but what we can do is help them not necessarily fear the consequences of what might happen. And of course, when we stand front and center, in a leadership role, then that's what we do. We turn around and take responsibility and accountability for how this may pan out. And I think that's a really important notion to be able to think about right now. I have a number of leadership roles, not only for my company, but for some of the volunteers that I support, for some of the charity stuff that I do. But I'm also mindful that actually you end up leading and shaping as a coach, and certainly as a leadership coach, certainly with organisations, you end up in a place and a space where you end up holding a space to allow organisations to be able to experiment, to dare to think differently, to give people the belief and the understanding, allow them to engage in their own belief change, that they can feel empowered. So wherever you are in the world today, I'm just going to encourage you to have a think about, what is your number one quality? And two, how do you bring it to the world? Because actually there's a phrase that gets really overused. If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. Well, maybe actually, if you do more of what you are really, really fabulously good at right now, then maybe actually you will make a difference in the places and the spaces and the communities that you are leading in right now. And whether that's because you're leading yourself, whether that's because you're being a role model for the other people in your life, or whether you genuinely have that job title and you are leading a team or an organization, and people right now are looking at you to know that actually it's safe for them to be the best version of themselves right now, because that then means that, you know, we will achieve so much more. So wherever you are in the world, I wish you all peace, and I hope you all stay safe, and maybe just have a think about what it is that you can bring a little bit more of to the world right now.